What if the next major trade hub in Southeast Asia isn't Singapore, but the city staring right at it from across the water? Just minutes away from Singapore's glittering skyline, Batam is quietly preparing for something much bigger than most people realize. For decades, it lived in the shadow of its wealthy neighbor, an industrial support zone, a manufacturing backyard, a transit point. But that narrative is starting to shift. Batam is no longer positioning itself as a supporting character. It's preparing to step onto the main stage. From Jakarta's perspective, this isn't casual optimism. It's strategic intent. The central government has made it clear. Batam is being groomed to compete, not symbolically, but structurally, with Singapore as a regional trade powerhouse. When Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs Erlangga Hartarto publicly emphasized Batam's potential following the launch of its expanded Free Trade Zone and Free Port Program in April 2023, it wasn't political theater. It was a declaration of direction. The scale of ambition tells the real story. The government projects the initiative could attract around 381 trillion Indonesian rupiah in investment and generate more than 300,000 new jobs. Those aren't abstract figures. They represent a deliberate attempt to turn Batam into a new engine of national growth, particularly in manufacturing, logistics, trade, and tourism. This is economic repositioning at a national level. Geography, of course, is Batam's quiet advantage. It sits along one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, effectively forming a natural gateway between Singapore and the rest of Indonesia. In an era where global supply chains are being restructured and companies are diversifying risk, location matters more than ever. Batam isn't trying to create relevance. It already has it. The question is whether it can fully capitalize on it. And the plan doesn't stop with Batam alone. Just nearby lies Rempang, an area now seen as a crucial extension of the broader vision. Rempang is being mapped out as a future hub for industrial services, tourism, and renewable energy development. Its proximity to both Singapore and Malaysia gives it regional leverage, if developed strategically. It's being treated not as an afterthought, but as a complementary piece of a much larger puzzle. Interestingly, this vision isn't entirely new. The idea of developing these areas has existed for years, but older regulations, including forestry classifications dating back to the 1980s, slowed progress. Large parts of Rempang were designated as conservation forest. Only after lengthy regulatory adjustments beginning in the mid-2010s did the door gradually open for structured development. What we're witnessing now is not a sudden idea, but the acceleration of a long-delayed strategy. Collaboration is another pillar. BP Batam, the Batam city government and private sector partners are working together on long-term planning across thousands of hectares. This is not a short-term construction push. The timeline stretches 1 to 2 decades. The objective isn't cosmetic growth, it's structural transformation. Local authorities understand what's at stake. For years, Batam's skyline has been defined by its view of Singapore's lights across the strait. The ambition now is different. Batam wants to generate its own glow. Not as a replica of Singapore, but as a modern port city with its own identity and competitive edge. Sustainability is also woven into the blueprint. Rempang is being directed toward green, renewable energy-based development. This reflects more than environmental awareness. It aligns Batam with the global energy transition agenda. Investors today are not just looking for efficiency, they're looking for compliance with future sustainability standards. Batam is attempting to position itself accordingly. To accelerate implementation, local authorities have pushed for administrative adjustments, including land management rights and forest production area conversions. These steps may sound technical, but they are crucial. Without regulatory clarity, large-scale development stalls. With it, momentum builds. And momentum is already visible. Batam's skyline has begun to change. High-rise buildings, expanding commercial districts, and improved infrastructure signal that this is no longer merely a satellite city. It is evolving into a destination in its own right. Economic activity is diversifying, and investor interest is growing steadily. Many observers now speculate that Batam could emerge as one of Southeast Asia's more influential urban centers in the coming years. The ingredients are there: strategic location, national policy backing, and increasing capital inflow. In a region defined by trade and connectivity, Batam's timing may be just as important as its geography. If these plans unfold as intended, Indonesians may no longer feel compelled to cross the border to experience the dynamism of a world-class port city. Batam is crafting its own version, one shaped by Indonesian priorities, cost structures, and long-term inclusion. It doesn't need to duplicate Singapore. It needs to differentiate itself. Still, ambition alone guarantees nothing. Success will depend on policy consistency, legal certainty, and careful management of social impacts. Large-scale development always carries risks, from community tensions to bureaucratic friction. Without disciplined execution, even the strongest vision can lose traction. Right now, Batam stands at a defining moment. The frameworks are in place. Investment commitments are forming. The narrative is shifting. What remains uncertain is execution. Will Batam truly rise as a serious competitor across the strait, or settle back into a supporting role? In many ways, Batam reflects Indonesia's broader economic recalibration. Growth is no longer meant to be concentrated solely on Java. Strategic regions with geopolitical and geo-economic value are being elevated. Batam is not just a regional project. It's part of a national repositioning within global trade networks. Amid global economic uncertainty and supply chain realignment, alternative investment hubs are gaining attention. Companies are seeking stable, cost-efficient locations close to major trade routes. Batam offers proximity to Singapore, competitive operating costs, and strong central government support, a combination that is difficult to ignore. There's also a symbolic dimension to all of this. For decades, Singapore has been viewed as the singular modern trade nucleus of Malacca Strait. Now, Indonesia is signaling that it can cultivate its own alternative, not as an imitation, but as a parallel center with its own strengths. Ultimately, Batam's future won't be decided by announcements or projections. It will be determined by discipline, governance, and strategic patience. The foundations are being laid. The investments are being courted. The vision is clear. The only real question left is this: can Batam turn momentum into permanence and transform proximity to Singapore from a shadow into an advantage?